I've been.
Okay.
Here we go.
So, Ed, I want to ask you this question again because our interest is just more specific towards the computer graphics side. And there you had this movie group, which became incredibly famous. I mean, it almost became synonymous with AAA as far as the outside public was concerned. And I was wondering, from your perspective, you must have seen Tron. You must have seen some of the things that came out of that group. What was your reaction and what were you thinking? Did you ever ask Al, what the hell are you doing spending money on this? Or, what were your feelings?
I thought it was wonderful. I felt very, first of all, I wasn't in the company, You have to understand that at some point, I really wanted to let the company go. I did a deal with the company where I sold my stock to them at a great discount while they were a public company. And this was a kind of windfall for the company and made Al very happy to be rid of me, one. And it was like, I had all this stock and I said, I just said to him, if the company will buy my stock for this price, I'll sell all my stock to you. And Al said, just very happy, did it, yeah. And I don't know why exactly I did it, but it was, much less than I would have got if I'd just gone to a broker and said, I want to have a public offering and sell the rest of my stock. But I just felt that, the company would be better off, and it was, I don't know. I just did it, whatever.
But then you must have had at least a sense of some source of pride in going to the theater and seeing that Disney film and knowing the AAA logo up there, and they were.
Well, I'm a futurist of some sort, okay, and I envisioned this future happening even more than it did, okay. So AAA to me was always behind the curve, not ahead, okay, even though that there was no one, they were out there by themselves in front. But from my perspective, I wish they'd done 10 times more, And so I wasn't a good witness of all their success because I was annoyed that it was only what it was, you see. No, the thing is that it was obvious to me that movies could be made entirely by computers, and that you could make movies better than any other kind of movies. I think we haven't gotten there yet. In other words, the art of making a movie out of whole cloth, which went from Walt Disney's transparencies and so on to the current state of the art, is only a short way into the real making of movies that can be done by computer, where, a good example of what I'm talking about is something like Siri. I don't know if you use Siri okay. Siri is moving towards, it makes use of big data, and makes use of Wolfram Alpha. It makes use of everything we know about AI and so on, and works fairly well, it's still stupid in ways, but it's a lot of progress. And, that's an indication of where things are going. And in movies, I think what will happen in the future is that people will have a concept and they'll get involved with some AI-ish kind of system, and the result will be a movie. And you'll be able to get a movie by saying, hey, that movie, but imagine this plot, imagine those actors, and imagine this, that, and the other. Show me a movie, and something will make a movie for you. and it can have great video. You know, there's no problem making 3D, and all of the, you know, stuff that, you know, well, if you take my phone, you know, how many processors does it have to deal with the pictures? My phone happens to have 400 GPUs. So does most everyone's current smartphone. Okay, it has a 4-core, you know, CPU, and they're all in the multi-gigahertz range, all 4 cores. There's double precision, you know, 64-bit arithmetic, all 4 cores in my phone. Okay, so you see, you know, my phone's got the computing capacity of, you know, 1 million times more than all the PDP-10s or Super Foonlies that we might have had in those days, and they can generate movies. The big thing is that the microscopic definition, we won't have to do that anymore, because people will be able to give a script to a movie, pick a program instead of a director, and say, hey, here's the script this guy wrote, and the style of direction that we like, George Lucas or something like that, or whatever, you pick somebody, and make me a movie. And the thing will make a movie for you. Okay? That's what we're coming to. And, you know, I think that what we'll see happening is that people can make their own movies, full-blown, you know, because the computational power is there, and our knowledge of how to do all the steps is growing all the time. It's a lot like, I'm amused by the GoPro Plus quadcopter today. You know, my first quadcopter, you know, is pretty tricky, because when it's flying away from me and it's facing away, I use the controls, and then when it turns around and it's flying towards me, it's confusing, because now left is right and right is left and so on, you know. Now, it says, do you want to pretend that you're in it? And then you can fly it that way. So that, or do you want this motion of the control stick to always be away from you? Or any other natural mode you like, and you can select and fly this quadcopter easily, stably. Or if you finally lose it, you press this one button and it flies home right next to you and lands. You know, they made all the problems go away. It's all digital and everything's working perfectly. You know, so the actors and the actions in the movie, they're going to graduate to that level. It's obvious to me. So that the kind of programming that had to be done in the early days to animate a person, that's all going to be gone. You'll have a script, and a program can animate the individuals, the actors, and make it all happen. Then you can be a director and you can say, hey, I wanted you to be angrier, or something like whatever directors say, I don't know. But you could interact at that level, and that's the way movies can be made in the future. In other words, we're not there yet. We haven't solved all the problems, but it's clear they can be solved. And we can keep making progress until that the creation of a full-blown movie can be, from script to movie, can be automated in some way where you have a high-level control over the stylistic issues or other things. If you want it in various languages, you don't have to translate things. It'll just generate the movie in other languages, you know. The lip motion will correspond to the language instead of what happens today, where there's a little bit of mismatch when you dub it and so on. All those things are going to happen.
I think you're right. You are a futurist.
I am. Why not?
on that one, and we call it a wrap.
Okay.